Hello, I am Joshua Rapport. I am the broker here at Crossborder Investment, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the processes to purchasing a property in Mexico with a mortgage. So similar to what you might be used to in the United States, the ideal situation would be that you have your mortgage approved before you get into a sales contract. Having your mortgage approved will first of all allow you to work through the Mexican system. You're going to be doing a mortgage through a financial institution in Mexico, so the processes might be a little bit different than what you might be used to at home. And also, once you have your approval, you'll know what your down payment will be, you'll know what your estimated closing costs will be, you know what your monthly payment would be, so it really allows you to financial plan as well. And the reality is that some clients, contact us and let's say that they want to get a mortgage approval for the peso value of $300,000. And let's say their qualifications don't allow for a $300,000 mortgage amount, and we get them approved for a $200,000 mortgage amount equivalent in pesos. So that might mean that the person needs to adjust their budget, okay? So when they're property shopping, if they have to adjust their budget, they'll know so when they're property shopping, assuming that they have their mortgage approved prior. Okay. So generally what happens is a client contacts us, they ask us some questions about the mortgages, we ask them questions about how we're going to be able to qualify them. The very first step for us is for someone to fill out the pre-qualification link that's available on our website. The link does not require any documents, it does not pull your credit report, it's just information that you fill out, and it allows us to know whether you should be subject to a mortgage or not. And it also allows us to know what our next steps should be. Once you fill that out, there might be some back and forth with some questions from our end towards you and from your end towards us. And generally, that process can take a couple weeks depending on how quickly the client wants to move forward. From there, the borrower, so you watching this video, would start sending us your documentation. So we'll send you a checklist and a link where you can upload the documents. Generally, it's going to be passport, utility bill, marriage certificate, birth certificate, tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs, etc. Once we receive your documents, it generally takes us anywhere from 2 to 4 business days to analyze and provide you with our results. Assuming the results are positive and you want to move forward, we would then fill out your formats, send them to you for signature, and then submit your loan to the lender for approval. So up until this phase, it really depends on how quickly the client wants to move and how readily the documents are available from the client side to be able to send to us for the mortgage approval. This first process, if someone's really motivated and wants to move quickly, until we get an approval, it's most likely going to be at least a month, because once we have the package to the lender's going to take 2 weeks to underwrite. Okay, so that's assuming there's just 2 weeks before with the client sending us all their documentation and going through all the different questions. So once it's approved, we then would, and assuming that you have a property and you have a purchase contract negotiated, we would then order the appraisal. The appraisal will take about 2 weeks until it's received. Once the appraisal is received, we then assign the case to the notary. So a notary, it's the same word as we have in English, but it has a completely different meaning in Mexico. Without getting into too much detail in this video, it refers to the closing agent. We assign it to the notary, and the notary would do the due diligence on the property, order the trust, etc. And that process will take about 6 weeks. So we're looking from basically the first time the client contacts us until approval, depending on how motivated the client is generally about a month. From approval to appraisal is another 2 weeks. And then from appraisal to closing is about 6 to 8 weeks. And so we're looking at where the client is really motivated, a client that has everything organized, all their paperwork in order, and has chosen a property, we're looking at about a 3-month process. Of course, there are some clients who contact us and it takes them a bit longer to get everything together, or it could be that they negotiate, they find a property they want to purchase and they're not able to successfully negotiate into a sales contract, and they have to find another property. So I guess with that being said, every case is different, and the timeline, there's not exactly a standard timeline, but I think I gave you a good idea of what you can expect. I'm going to take advantage and just mention that if your mortgage approval does expire while you're in the process of searching for a property or while you're in the closing process, Generally, your mortgage can just be updated with providing some refreshed documents. So usually your utility bill, pay stubs, and bank statements. You will, if your mortgage approval does expire, when it expires and you're refreshing it, you're renewing your approval. If there's been change in any policies, you would be subject to whatever new policies are in place at the time of your renewal. Yeah, and we do think it's a good idea. You know, it doesn't, in my opinion, if someone's looking to purchase in 2 years from now, it doesn't make much sense to get an approval now because policies can change with the bank, your situation can change, your job can change, your credit history can change, all that. So, I mean, if we got you approval now for a purchase you're going to do in 2 years, it would kind of give you a false approval, in my opinion. We generally ask clients to, who are moving forward with the process, that they're, 3 to 6 months away from actually purchasing the property. But please, our first step is always filling out the pre-qualification format. As I mentioned before, it does not require any documentation. It's just a matter of you filling out the information based on your knowledge of your situation. Yeah, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we're more than happy to help you through this process.